Okay, this video is video 403, Math 403, and it is dealing with multiplication. Now for this video, we are assuming that you already know all of your multiplication tables or your times tables. You should know 2 times 2 is 4 and 6 times 4 is 24. You know, all of the numbers. You should know those. If you don't know those, it's very important that you contact the school immediately and let us help you learn those. Everything you do in math from here on out, you're going to need to know those multiplication tables. You need to know your times tables. So if you do not know those, this is the time to learn them. This video will be very difficult for you if you do not know those times tables. I've helped tutor students in high school before that was doing algebra, and they didn't know their times tables. So it made it very difficult to do anything in math if you don't know those. So make sure that you stop the video, contact the school and say, look, I don't know all my times tables, and we will show you some resources to help you learn those and get you to learn those. So we're going to move on with this. Assuming you know your times tables, this will go pretty quickly for you. So when you multiply numbers together, of course, if you go 3 times 4. As you know, that's like saying 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals. It's like adding the 3 together 4 times. Or it's like adding the 4 together 4 times, or 3 times. Either way. And you know, you could go 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 is 12, and you come up with 12. That just takes longer. So that's why we do multiplication. These are our factors, and our answer is called our product. Our product. So that's what we're going to be working on today, is finding our products of some factors. And we're going to do 2 digits times 1 digit first. So let's go with 15 times 3. So these are our factors. This is a factor. This is a factor. And our answer is going to be called the product. Okay? So those are some terms that you need to know about, that be aware of. So 3 times 5, we're going to multiply those. Those are in our ones places. 3 times 5 is 15. Well, just like when we added earlier, you can't put 15 down here, okay? You can only put 1 digit in the ones place. So we're going to put, if 15 is 5 times 3, we're going to put our 5, which is in our ones place, down here. And the same thing we're going to carry. We're going to carry our 1 over to the tens place. Okay? Now when we multiply this, we're going to go 3 times 1 is 3. And since we have that 1 up there, we're just going to add it. We don't multiply it again, we just add that. So 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. And so our answer is 45. So let's do another one. I didn't mean to put one where we had to carry something the first one. Let's do one without carrying, and then I'll go back and explain that one more time. So let's go 32 times 3. Okay? So 32 times 3, and for times we use our X symbol for now. Later you'll learn there's different symbols you can use, but for now we just use the X. 3 times 2 is 6. And then you go diagonal. 3 times 3 is 9. So 32 times 3 is 96. So let's go 43 times 3. 3 times 3, again, is 9. And 3 times 4 is 12. Now, I said before you can't put 2 numbers, but when you're at the very last number that you're doing, you can do that. There's nowhere to carry anything to. This is our last number. So you can just put a 12 down there if that's your last number. Okay, so 51 times 8. 8 times 1 would be 8. And 8 times 5 is 40. There's nowhere to carry anything to, so it's okay just to put the 40 down there. Now let's talk about this borrowing again, or carrying again. It's carrying, making sure we understand that. So let's go back to 16 times 4. Okay, 16 times 4. Well, 6 times 4 is 24. So that's what we're going to figure out first. But we can only put one number there. So our 24, we want to pick the number that's in the ones place, the last number here. That's the number that's going to go under here. And we're going to carry our 2, it's in the tens place, we're going to carry it to the tens place here. Okay, so we put our 2 there. Now, we go 4 times 1, 4 times 1, and then we're going to add the 2 to it. Okay, so that's the way that's going to work here. So we're going to go 4 times 1 is 4, and then this 5, 6. So that's going to be 6. 4 times 1 is 4, plus the 2 is 6, and that gives you a 64 then. Let's do a couple of those. Let's go 26 times 7. Okay, 7 times 6 is 42. So we put our 2 here. We carry our 4. 7 times 2 is 14. And then we have to remember to add this 4 to that. 7 times 2 is 14. Plus 4 is 18. 182 is our profit. Let's do one more. Let's go big number here. 98 times 8. Okay? So 8 times 8 is 64. You put a 4 here, and you carry your 6. Okay? Then 8 times 9 is 72. And you have 72, you have to add the 6 to that 72. And that would give you 78. I believe that's right. 72 plus 6 is 78. So that's your answer. That's a bigger 2-digit number. Now, let's go to 2 digits multiplied by 2 digits. There's an extra step to this. This gets a little more complicated because there's an extra step. So we'll start with some smaller numbers, but let's just go 22 times 12. 22 times 12. Okay, we start off doing the same thing that we normally do. 2 times 2 is 4, and then we go 2 times 2 is 4. Now we've got this extra 1 here. So we basically take the same 1 and we multiply it by both of the top numbers, just like we did this 2. So to do that though, this is in our ones place here, so we're starting in our tens places. So we're going to put a 0 down here in our ones place underneath this number. And then we're going to go back and multiply this. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 2 is 2. That's the way you add, and then we're going to add these together, and that's going to give us our answer. So I'm going to go through that a couple times and break it down for you. I just wanted to go through it and show you this is what we're going to end up with. Okay, so let's go through that again. Just change the numbers up just a little bit and go through that again now. So I'm going to go 31 times 23. Okay, so I'm going to start with the number in the ones place, and I'm going to multiply that by the ones place up here and the tens place, just like we did. So 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 3 is 9. Now, I've got to multiply my number in the tens place by both of these numbers also. But to do that, I'm starting in the tens place. This is the tens place down here underneath this 9. So I'm just going to put a 0, I'm going to call it just a placeholder, just to kind of get the ones place out of the way. Okay? And then I'm going to 2 times 1 is 2. And 2 times 3 is 6. And then I would just add these two numbers together. Sometimes you'll hear this called a partial product, and this is a product of this number multiplied by this number, and this is a partial product, which is basically this number multiplied by this number. And then when you add them together, you get your product, your full product. So that's the answer. Okay? So not really difficult. It looks confusing at first, but once you do a couple of them, you'll see it. You'll do so many of these, they'll get easy for you. 43 times 12. Okay? So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay? Now I'm going to multiply this one, so I'm going to put a 0 here as my placeholder. Okay. 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 4 is 4. And then I'm going to add these two numbers together to get my final product. And that's how we get that. Okay, 57 times 21. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 5 is 5, which makes sense. 1 times 57 is going to be 57. 1 times anything is anything. So now I'm going to put my placeholder here. And 2 times 7, now I'm going to be careful here. 2 times 7 is 14. So I got to just put my 4 down and carry my 1 up here. And then 2 times 5 is 10, and I got to remember to add the 1, 11. So this is where it starts getting, you have to remember all of your rules to put it all together here. Okay? Of course, we added this. Remember the 2, how did I get this here? I put my 0 as a placeholder, and I put 2 times 7 is 14. Well, 14, remember, from the last video we talked about you put down your 4 and you carry your 1, same thing here. You put the 4 down, you carry your 1 here. And then when you multiply the 2 times the 5, that's 10, but you got to remember to add the 1 to it, and that's 11. Well, here we can put 2 digits because there's no more numbers out here to deal with, so we just put our 11 down there. Okay, now, so we're going to have a lot more carrying with this. 5 times 5 is 25, so I'm going to put my 5 here, but I have to carry my 2 up here. Okay, and then I go 5 times 3 is 15, plus the 2 is 17. Well, there's nowhere to carry anything else to, so I can put my 17 down there. Now I'm going to come back to my 2 there, I'm going to put my 0. Now you've got to be careful here. Best to do math in pencil, so you can erase easy, not use pen in math, because it's probably going to be a good idea for now until you really get used to this, is to make sure that once you multiply this 5 by 5, you get 25, you put your 5, you carry your 2, 5 times 3 is 15, 16, 17, I put my 17. It's probably a good idea now to go ahead and mark out or erase that 2, because it may get confusing when you do the next number. So now we're going to multiply the 2, and we're going to put our 0 for a placeholder. So 2 times 5 is 10. I'm going to put my 0, and I'm going to carry my 1. Well, see, if you would have left that 2 up there, you might have got confused earlier. So it's good to get rid of that. So 2 times 5 is 10. I put my 0. I carry my 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Make sure all these line up nicely. And so there's your answer for that one. Like I said, you'll do thousands of these in your life probably. So that's why it's so good to know your multiplication tables. You can do these so quickly if you know your multiplication tables. If you don't, and you have to sit and figure out what each thing, it could take you forever. Now we can have, let's see, some big numbers here. 81 times 48. Okay, let's try that and see how that goes here. All right, so 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 8 is 64. Now there's nowhere to carry it to, so you can put your 64 there. Now we're going to go to the 4, but we've got to put our 0 as a placeholder first. 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 times 8 is 32. Now we got 32. Let's make sure that 2 lines up right under the 6, and then the 3 comes out here. Okay, and then we've got to add this up. 8, 4 plus 4 is 8. 8, oh wow, 3. Okay, and then it's probably best to put your comma when you get a number that big, so you know what your how to read it, how to get through to read those big problems. All right, let's look at one more, and then you can practice some with them. We could have bigger numbers. Okay, so let's just try this big number here. We got 3,324 times 37. That's a weird looking 3. There we go. Okay, so 7 times 4 is 28. We're going to put our 8. We're going to carry our 2. 7 times 2 is 14. We've got to remember to add that 2. 15, 16. Well, now we've got 16. We can only put one number there. We'll put the 6 and carry the 1. Okay? Now we've got 7 times 3 is 21, plus we've got to add that one, that's 22. So if we've got a 22, we're going to put 1, 2 there, and we're going to carry the other 2 up here. And now we've got 7 times 3 is 21, plus those 2. 21 plus 2 is 23. 23. And there's no place to carry it to, so we put the whole number down there. Wow, now that's a much bigger number. Let's just review that quickly. This is just the 7. We haven't done the 3 yet. So 7 times 4 was 28. Okay, on the 28, we put the 1's place down here, and we carried the 2's place up here, to the 10's place up here. So 7 times 2 was 14. We had to add that to a 15, 16. So we ended up with 16. Well, we put our 1's place down here on the 6. We carried the 1 in the 10's place up here. So we carried it. 7 times 3 is 21. You had to add the 1 to it, so that gave you a 22. We brought our 2 down here from the 22. We carried our 2 over here. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 2 gave us the 23. So that's how we got that big old number. Now we're going to do the 3 the same way. Now remember, I think it's a good idea to erase these, or at least mark them out where you don't see them at the top, because they can be confusing. You know, if I left my, what did we carry there? We carried a 2 there, and here we carried a 1, didn't we? And here, well, we had to carry a 2 there. So if I start multiplying this 3 here, and I do that, I might add those to it. Well, I'm not supposed to add those to it. That was only work with that number. We're starting over, so it could get confusing for that. So remember, put our 0 for a placeholder, and then we got 3 times 4 is 12. We're going to put our 2 and carry a 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So we just put our 7, there's nothing to carry now, because we're going to put there. Then 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 3 is 9 again. So then we're going to add these together to get our final answer. 8 plus 0 is 8. 6 plus 2 is 8. 2 plus 7 is 9. Now here we have 3 plus 9, that's 12. So we have to put our 2 and carry our 1 right here. And then we've got 11, 12. 9 plus 2 is 11, plus that 1 is 12, 12. And then we need to go through 1, 2, 3, and put our comma there. So that's a 9 there. So anyway. So that kind of puts all of our rules together for multiplication. So that's how you do two-digit multiplication.